Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to a Dummies Guide to Hearts of Iron 4 made by your favorite dummy. That's right. Anyway, I'll basically try to explain in a short and fast manner how to play this game, and I hope you will understand it. So I'll start off with what's in front of you. See here, this opens your political tab. Here you have basic laws and government. You select your advisors here, your economy, the export, that's basically how much resources you keep for yourself and put out in the market, and conscription laws, where basically decide how much of a percentage of your population you decide to send to death. Research and production, it's basically various bonuses on research mainly. However, in some cases you do get like a little bonus to your aircraft, tanks, or ships. Military staff is basically just bonuses for your army, so depending on your playstyle, you choose what you want to play. So that's that done. Decisions, well, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's not that, honestly, it doesn't matter that much. Like, you're pretty new to the game, I assume, like, who needs decisions anyway? Research, I would like to put it in two basic branches, the military and civilian. The military I would divide into basically ground, air, and navy. Ground is further divided into infantry, support, tanks, and artillery. Navy is just navy if you don't own DLC, otherwise it's a whole different mess, which if you're a new player you probably don't. Air goes the same, but if you just own the basic game, it's pretty simple. You just have close air support fighters, naval bombers, heavy fighters, tactical arms, strategic bombers. Ideally, I would suggest going for fighters and close air support. Maybe naval bombers too. However, civilian, you do engineering and, well, industry pretty much. Engineering is basically research bonuses if you're using the default game, and, well, radar, which it's nice to have if for air battles. You have also atomic research and rocketry. No, not space rocketry, sadly. Atomic research basically gives you the nuclear bomb. Rockets, well, you get to, if you research well enough, you get jets. Normal industry, this is production. It affects how many guns, tanks, stuff like that you produce, and how many factories you can have in a state. Construction, how fast something is built. Also, this affects the excavation ones, affect how many resources you gain extra. This synthetic coal is pretty self-explanatory. It's basically just gaining coal, gaining rubber. This is just how much fuel you can store, which you can see up here. Fuel is very important for your navy, air, and, well, tanks and trucks. Diplomacy, it's, well, the easiest way to just open it is just you right click on a country and it opens diplomacy with them. Once you're in diplomacy screen, you just left click on any country you want to see your stuff with. Trade, it's not as, well, it's kind of important, since depending on what resource you lack, it affects your production, which is this right here. But back to trading, if you want 8 of a specific resource, like let's say I want to buy chromium from Turkey, I will put just left click once, you buy amount of 8 of this resource. For one civilian factory, it basically goes the same for everything except for puppets, where you can basically get like from 20 up to basically their whole stockpile for one factory. But if you can, as you can see, if like somebody doesn't have 8 of a certain resource, you basically buy the minimum amount available. Construction, well, you have basically 4 main sectors: infrastructure, airports, anti-air radar stations, that's, well, state buildings. You have factories, what you produce, and then you just have, well, not so important, supplies and forts and harbors. Long story short, you left click to place where you want to build something. So let's say you want to build a civilian factory, you click on this one, build it. Civilian factories are important for building stuff. You can basically have 15 at a time building a single slot. So let's say I want to build a fort, I place one here. Well, you can shift left click on here to put it on top, shift left click on the arrow down to put it on the bottom. That's like a simple little life hack, quality of life hack. And it basically starts producing, as you can see, 15 out of 15. That means like it's being built the maximum as fast as possible. And yeah, anyway, I would like to go to factories. on this step here, you basically see factories. You see how many military and how many civilian factories you have, and how many you have in use. Also naval dockyards. In this section, consumer goods, you can also see, depending on your economy laws and well, national spirits, how many factories you, well, percentage of your factories used for consumer goods, basically toasters, TVs. TVs weren't invented back then. Fuck. And yeah, this one here, this one bad, this one this one good, this one best, this one you lose manpower. That's how you should keep it organized. Anyway, supplies, infrastructure, you basically, if it's max upgraded, like you can just have railroads to level 1, which I suggest using. And well, you basically see it. The brighter the color is, where it's almost yellow, it means your supply line is good. You can have many troops here. If it's dark blue, well, then you might have a problem with supplies here. If it's red, well, you're in the red. Come on, like it's pretty self-explanatory. You have supply lines problems. How you fix it? You build a supply hub, or you just shift left click on the supply hub, which brings trucks, which we'll get into production now. So you can see here, you can select how many factories are producing a certain good. Now, with production, I would like to also mention logistics, where you can see how many of something I'm missing. Let's say I'm missing infantry equipment. Well, that means I'll just focus a bit more on infantry equipment. I'm missing fighters. I'm gonna focus more on building up fighters. I'm missing, I don't know, trucks. I'll build more trucks. It's kind of simple. Like, if it's in the red, it means you don't have enough. Yeah, I know. It's simple, don't worry. You basically click how many factories you wanted. Like one icon of a factory represents a factory building that many amount. You can also multiply it by 5. So if you click here and you left click on it, it assigns 5 factories to building. If you click on 10, it assigns 10. Easy, right? On naval, however, it's limited to 10. On light ships, that goes like for submarines, destroyers, and light cruisers. Convoys, you can have 15 naval dockyards building them. Heavy cruisers, battleships, well, battle cruisers as well, and airships, not airships. Bruh, I can't remember the name. You can basically have 5 naval dockyards building at the same time. Here you can also see the resources you're missing. So I'm missing rubber. That means I need to import it for max production. If it's in the green, it means you have enough resources. If it's in yellow, you're missing a few, but it's not as bad as it can be. But you might wanna import a few resources. If it's in the yellow, like ideally you would. If it's in the red, well, your production is screwed. You should just not give up. You should import those resources as fast as possible, if imaginable. This button here, recruit and deploy, you can see here, well, in recruit and deploy, you have reinforcements. That means the troops coming to your divisions that just fought. Upgrades, where the upgrades go, like new guns, not trucks, tanks, artillery, stuff like that. Garrisons is the troops that are in your states, protecting them, keeping the civil order. Pretty simple. Now, if I add this, you can also assign this one here. It means that they will get the equipment first. The troops on the front lines fighting will get it later. Like these guys will get it first. If there's a exclamation mark, it means you're missing that equipment. Here you can check how much of a part of equipment you need to build it up to max. This is the experience. You need, I think, 16% to deploy them, or 20, I'm not exactly sure. Once you have enough, you click on this, select state, and then you just left click this, which brings me to selecting armies. Now what you can do is just like left click, drag, do this. As you can see, this creates an army, which I'll go into further details later, but this is just the basics of it. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Here, if you want to do national focus, you can just click on the flag, select a national focus, and then just decide what to do. Or like in this tabs here, you can just click it for the shortcut. Look, just click it here, and that's it. Anyway, what these ones mean? This means you can research something. This means you can assign still military factories. This one is for dockyards. Here I'll just delete this real quick, just so you see what it looks like for civilian factories, which is this one. This is for decisions which you can take, like I could cancel Mepha build, but in this case it doesn't make sense. And this one means it's insufficient resources. You don't have enough. You can also have one for not enough manpower, and that's pretty much it. Anyway, back to what this means. This is political power. It's important for assigning advisors, I don't know, companies, basically this research and production, theorists and well, commanders. This is stability. It basically helps you run the nation smoother. Your factories are more efficient. Your stuff just runs better. Okay, like you just want to have these two as high as possible. For support, it mainly limits the amount of manpower you have. Manpower is the amount of troops you can have on the field. This is factories. We've been over this. You basically have three types of factories: military factories, which is for ground troops and air troops; naval dockyards for navy; and civilian factories, which is for building stuff. This is all fuel, whatever you want to call it. It's how many days your Air Force or Navy can operate, / Army if you have tanks, trucks, stuff like that in the Army. And this is just convoys and supply lines. And yeah, you should have this at 100. It also tells you how much you need of something. Trains needed, I have 7, in stockpile 60, that means I'm good. Trucks the same, convoys the same. So those are the basic ones. Command power, well, it's for officer corps. We basically need it for stuff and other stuff. Wait 1 sec. Okay, it's nice to have just to assign these generals here, also to use certain orders, which I will show you later. Military experience to make divisions or to modify certain, tanks, planes, stuff like that. If you don't have DLCs, if you do have, it's way more important. Navy goes the same. Air goes the same. One thing that I should also mention, here you can also do your doctrine. You should select it if you wanna, depending on how you wanna play. These two are aggressive ones, these two are defensive ones. This one is if you wanna use tanks and trucks. This one is if you wanna use more infantry and artillery. This one is, if you want quality. This one is quantity for defense. Pretty simple. Keeping it simple. Yeah. Other doctrines, big fleet, small fleet, many submarines, mixed fleet, I would say. Air doctrine, air superiority. No, wait, this one is air superiority. Anyway, I don't care. Like, just battlefield support. Honestly, I just always go for this one because it helps you in ground battles. Anyway, I'll just show you this. You click here to assign a commander. You basically want to look at these bonuses, see which ones are good, which ones are bad, depending on your army composition. You want to use good. Okay, I have mostly infantry here. I'm gonna select this guy. This here is for naval invasions. You left click on the port, right click on where you want to land. This one here is just to select a front line. This means they'll dynamically move depending on how it works. Offensive line, where you want them to push. You basically left click on the arrow thingy. That means they're pushing. If it's like glowing, it means they are attacking. If it's not, it means they're just holding the front line. This one here is just to drawing. You basically put your troops how you want them to be. Also, one thing that you should know is if you just left click on the front, it will put them like this. If you want to assign 30 divisions, let's say just to here, you right click on this province here, just drag your mouse to where you want them to be and stop. It's that simple. These ones are for garrisons. These ones are useful for, protecting your ports. This, useless. This one is good just if you want to edit your front lines. Look, you place it here, you're like, oh no, I messed up, I don't want this province here to be defended. You just drag it here. It's that simple. It's simple. You just select which planes you use. You right click on the province, boom, I want them in Western Poland, decide what you want to do. These guys, I want them to support my infantry attacks, so I'm gonna do this. These planes, they're gonna do air superiority, so our planes that can shut down, and that's pretty much it. To the last part, which is the Navy. Honestly, nobody knows how to play the Navy, neither do I, and neither should you. Just use paratroopers. And yeah, I hope this will help you play the game. I know it's not the most detailed explanation, but it should get the basics down. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it helped you out. It's basically made for beginners. And yeah, have a nice rest of your day, and bye bye.